brownies, and these were introduced to me by my dear friend Wendy Graves. And she, I think you texted me one day and you said, I've made something, I'm sure you'll like it. Do you want some? And you told me what it was. I said, sure, I'll be right over. So I was able to get a good taste of it. I was telling them in the kitchen that she gave me a baggie full of them, and I hate to say that I think I ate the whole bag. By the end of the day, they were that good. But anyway, so does everyone like dates? I think most people like dates to a certain degree. Okay, this recipe calls for medjool. I guess I'm pronouncing it right, dates. They are very pricey, and Costco used to carry them by the bag, but they discontinued. I found that out the other day when I went to get some dates. So this is what they carry now. These are the standard looking dates that you see everywhere. You know, they look like this. And so I'm going to do a comparison of the other date. It's almost twice to three times as big as the standard dates that you see. And this bag will make about 1.5 recipes of what we're doing. And this is a little over a cup. Oh, and this costs not quite $7. This is a little over a cup, and it costs almost $7. So do the math. So if you want to spend almost $30 on dates, you're more than welcome. But if not, buy these, and you'll just need to add water to your recipe, because it doesn't call for water for the base, but you will need to add water because it will be too dry. So that's the only difference that I could see. They're both very sweet. The medjool dates are a little bit sweeter, but that's okay. It still works with the recipe. I did a trial run yesterday, and they're in the freezer, and a little later after I finish doing this, Susie will bring them out and let you see what they look like. The recipe calls for an 8-inch, it says a square. It doesn't say 8 by 8 or 9 by 9 square pan. And it does make a difference. And I remember what you said, Wendy, that they were just so thick. And so what I did, I have an 8 by 11-inch pan. You probably could even do a 9 by 13-inch, and just so you can have more of a surface area. And I'm more spatial, I guess, when I see food. The wider, the better. Thick doesn't do anything for me. So if I can see a brownie this big, if it's this tall, I'm okay. But if it's this big and that tall, it doesn't do anything for me. So that's what I did. Okay, so I've taken the pan and put parchment in it. If you want, you can put some vegan butter, some Earth Balance in it. If you want, just add a little extra flavor. You don't have to, but feel free to do that. So the first ingredient is 1.5 cups of raw walnuts, and I've already pre-measured everything. I'm hoping everything fits in here. If not, we'll do it in, Barbara, would you bring another bowl just in case this doesn't fit? Because I think that's what you shared, Wendy, that it was just kept growing in your food processor, so you had to do things. And this is 1.5 cups of raw almonds. And 2.5 cups of medjool dates, or regular dates, packed. And I really packed them down. I think it's going to be a little bit much, but we'll see what happens. And the next ingredient is 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. I like to use Dutch cocoa because it has more of that, it has a stronger taste, and it has more of that hot chocolate, that alkalized cocoa flavor than just your pure, really dark chocolate that has not been alkalized. So that's 1/2 cup of that, and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm using a teaspoon because it's so much, and a little extra vanilla is not going to hurt. But use your judgment. And Next is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. It's a little dry. And I use a Celtic sea salt instead of Morton's iodized salt. Tracy. Yeah. And I'm going to start with about 4 tablespoons of water, because yesterday I just kept adding and adding and adding. I was, keeping up with it, but because it was really dry. Okay, so we're going to put this on here, and we're hoping that was your this big?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And I'll scrape it down a little bit. So this is really healthy. It's high in nutrients, it's high in calories, but a little bit goes a long way. I think we need a little bit more water, because if you don't add enough water, it'll be crumbly. And you don't want that. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Maybe another tablespoon. And you'll just have to use a Delta because your dates may be a little bit more moist than what I have, and then you won't need as much. So. I think we're almost there, though. I think it's getting, yeah, I think it's good. I'll pulse it one more time. And you will probably want to use gloves. I'll be using saran wrap to press it in, because if you don't, you'll end up with sticky black fingers or chocolate fingers. Okay. I think we're good to go. Okay. To get it off. How do you? Oh, you have to do, is it a, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. So. It is pretty sticky, it's pretty thick. It's almost like fudge, like nut fudge. I like it just because you don't have to heat up your kitchen in the summertime to make brownies. And it smells just like brownies. Could you clean this out so I can have it for my caramel? Okay. All righty.
You need the blade too for your caramel.
Yes, thank you, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to use saran wrap. If you have gloves, that's fine. But this works really well for pressing things into your dish. So anyone have any questions? And I looked up the nutritional information on the different dates. And like 2 of the medjool dates were like 110 calories. And the little teeny ones like this, I think they're like only 30 for one or so too. So it's almost half the calories for dates, if you're concerned with that.
Got some pretty awesome stuff happening in here because dates are so full of potassium and magnesium. They're a nutritional powerhouse, and with all
Yes.
the nuts, this is a perfect dessert for people with diabetes that won't spike their blood sugar.
That's great.
The mix of fat, protein, and then the sugar stays more natural fiber.
One of our audience people said this is a really good dessert for those who have diabetes because they're so packed with potassium and magnesium.
Well, it's actually the breakdown of for the diabetes, it's a breakdown of the protein and the oils in connection with the sugars. It keeps your blood sugar from spiking.
Okay.
And allows your insulin to do its own natural job. So anytime you can utilize nuts as a base in dessert is going to help keep your blood sugar under control.
It's good to know. Okay, thank you.
Let's see if I can put it on here for you. You're good.
Okay, you take that too, I'm sorry. Just leave that clean. Sure, okay. All righty, next we're going to do the caramel. And we'll use again some dates, 2 cups this time. Salt, no, vanilla. 1 teaspoon. And salt.
Are you done with this?
But you can have the rest of it. And the salt. And it says 2 to 4 tablespoons of water. I'm going to start with the 4 tablespoons. And we'll see what happens here. It's got a little bit of little chocolate here. Okay. I like this food processor. It's pretty quiet, you know? I want it to be like caramel. And it's really shocking that it will ultimately look like caramel. I remember Wendy saying that. Almost there. I have one more pass and it will be ready. Because you want the little, dates can have a little tough skin on the outside of them, so you want to make sure all of that is broken down. But that's almost there. Okay, one more time, and we should be done. And if you want a little extra flavor, you could add, instead of using water, you can use like maple syrup. It makes it a little bit sweeter, but you can't go wrong with maple syrup. Okay, so this is what that caramel looks like. It really does look like caramel. So just take these out. And you still need those ones? Okay. So see, it does look like caramel, nice thick caramel. And you really can just make something like this and keep it in your refrigerator for a spread. On your sandwich, say if you're going to make a peanut butter sandwich, you can, on the other side, you can spread a date butter, because this is really date butter when we finish doing it. And I know some recipes do call for date butter. So you've made it. All righty. So we just spread this on. Really, Barbara, this worked out faster, this machine, than the one I had at home.
Why do you think it did?
I think because I now know what I'm doing.
Do you need a spoon to kind of scrape that off?
Yeah, I think yeah. Yeah, this is my first time trying it. I didn't do it before because I knew it was so packed that I would only make it if I was going to share it, because I don't trust myself. Yeah. Yeah, I don't trust myself. What's that old saying, to thine own self be true, or something like that? So yeah, not doing that self-sabotage. Alrighty, so that's that. And next, it says a half a cup of crushed pecans. And what I did, I took the pecans, they were halved, and I just took a good knife. I didn't do them in the food processor, it probably would have worked better, but I just took them on a cutting board and just broke them down that way. And you just press it in really well. I'm gonna use my fingers. And the chocolate chips, and you press those in. And I use the Enjoy Life. Those were the only ones I could find that were dairy-free. And I got these in Meijer, and theirs are in the gluten-free section, as opposed to the regular cooking section. And I think with Kroger, they're with their regular things. So, these are your no-bake turtle brownies. And Miss Susie's going to come out and show us what they look like when they're finished. If you could pull the camera in, see it. I told her to do the Vanna White thing with it. And you see how many this little thing makes. It's like 48 brownies, so it makes a lot. Because I have more surface area. Okay, well, thank you all. Yeah. So you're gonna go through it, I'll probably do this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, guys. It's so easy to lose things while we're running back and forth getting things. Yvonne sent me an email telling me that she needed a food processor, and I somehow read all of the email except that. But, you know, we said that these were recipes for the summertime, for the hot summer. There's only one thing we're using the stove for tonight. It was different because I usually have to hook up a heating element out here, but tonight everything is pretty much cold except for the spaghetti that we have to heat. Now, last time a question came up about table salt. People were asking, why is regular table salt that you buy in the store? Someone mentioned that it's not good for you. You should never use that. And so afterwards, Marcia was kind enough to find it on the internet. And so I'm going to share with you why table salt that you buy, Morton table salt and all of those, is not the best choice. It's the same stuff, the ingredients of table salt that you get. It's the same stuff that you find in processed foods, and we all are pretty much aware that processed foods are not good for us. Our bodies need salt, but most research, especially what has been published in America, has revolved around refined table salt. And that is bad for you. But regular salt, if you get the right kind of salt, it's fine. It's actually good for your body. In many parts of the world, it is well accepted that table salt is the problem, okay? It's the kind of salt. Refined table salt is really pretty scary when you realize what they put in it. It contains anti-caking agents because we don't want it caking up in our salt shakers, do we? Some of which have been linked to heavy metal toxicity and kidney problems. A common preservative in refined salts, sodium acetate, may cause elevated blood pressure and kidney disturbances. So, what should you use instead? If you use an unrefined sea salt, that is good for you. You know, and I'm wondering, and we've got some medical people here, I'm almost scared to ask. I have a friend that can't eat salt, and I'm wondering if she switched to this, if that would make the difference, because it doesn't have those additives in it. Unrefined sea salt actually helps you balance your blood sugar, helps keep your bones strong, regulates your metabolism, boosts your immune system, and boy do we need that right now, right? And more. Natural refined sea salt provides a number of nutrients and minerals, and it provides them in a way that your body can utilize them. And that's why it's better for you than these other things. Over 80 trace minerals are found in naturally filtered salt water that is used to create unrefined sea salt and give it its vital grayish color, and its slight moistness keeps the salt and minerals in a form that the body can use. So, there are a lot of different sea salts out there, unrefined sea salt, but it must say unrefined. It can't just say sea salt. Make sure it's unrefined. And then those are the things that. Any questions? Okay, I thought that was kind of cool. Well, they're still we're sharing utensils tonight, so until they get my equipment out here, I'm going to have to wait a little bit. But I found an article this week that talked about 7 ways a plant-based diet benefits the planet and you, okay? The first thing it does, if you realize that 70% of agricultural land, and I don't know if this is, I'm assuming this is talking mostly about the United States, 70% of agricultural land is used to raise animals. That's a huge portion, isn't it? 70%. Of course, that includes the pastures, not just the land that they raise crops on. 1/3 of the crops are used for producing animal feed. And then when you add to that the fact that animal waste products, you know, if we weren't doing everything in high, you know, really big production, when there were just small farms with a few animals, it wasn't a big deal. But you've probably all seen the feedlots. They have to clean those lots, and they've got to do something with the waste that they take out of there, and so that pollutes the environment. So then another thing it does, it conserves water if you do a plant-based diet. 70% of the earth is water, but only 2.5% of it is fresh water. And of that 2.5%, only 30% of the 2.5% is available to us. So there is a water, in a lot of countries, undeveloped countries, water is really scarce. People have to walk long distances to get water. And so, you know, I come from a farming background, and I hear people talking about how the underground reserves of water that we've had for so many years are getting depleted. So conserving our water is important. The water footprint of a veggie burger is 42 gallons. Now it's hard to believe it takes 42 gallons to make a little veggie burger, doesn't it? But I guess they're counting all the way through from the time that the plants are growing and they're watering them and they're processing it. So anyway, it takes 42 gallons, while a beef burger has a water footprint of 621 gallons. So you can see that if we do plant-based, we conserve water a lot more. It reduces global warming if we do a plant-based diet. Global warming gases are one of the main culprits. And would you believe methane emissions cause about half of the planet's warming? According to this article, 37% of methane emissions are from cows and sheep. So that's a big chunk of it, isn't it? You know, the more cows and sheep that we raise, the more it is that more gases that we emit. And of course, I'm sure you've all heard about the antibiotics and so forth that they give to animals and how that passes right through to us. And unfortunately then, when they need to give us an antibiotic, our bodies don't respond well like they should. So, have we got all the equipment ready? Super. So there's, even besides just being healthier for you, we're doing the planet a favor by using a plant-based diet. So the thing that I'm going to demonstrate, and Susie is going to help me here, I'm going to demonstrate a vegan chickpea sandwich filling. Now, I didn't realize, how many people eat a lot of chickpeas? I mean, is that something that you do a lot of? Wow. I got to add it more to our diet because, man, when I read about what all chickpeas do for us, it is really a good food to have in your diet. But I think you'll enjoy this recipe because it makes a great sandwich filling. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to process. This is organic chickpeas that I've rinsed, okay? Drained and rinsed. Maybe just pulse it. Yeah, go ahead and put it on. Let's see. Yes, we do. Let's see how, that's plenty. Okay. Sometimes I bring a lot of my own equipment here, and when I don't, I haven't used this stuff again, and I don't know how fast it'll work it down, but we got it pretty fine here. The first time I made this, I left it a lot wholer, and it just depends on your preference. If you like the whole beans rather than having it all mushed up. But this, when you have them more ground up, then they're a lot easier to spread on the sandwich. So, okay, so you want to put that in there? I think we're missing more utensils. Let's put it in here so they can see it. We're going to use this one so they can see what's inside. Okay, I'm going to take this and put it in our bowl, a glass bowl, so y'all can see what we're doing. I was pleasantly surprised that I was able to get the organic beans at not that much more than what just the regular ones on the shelf, the ones that are not organic. Whereas just maybe 20 cents different. Okay, Susie is going to measure our 3 tablespoons of tahini. Has anybody ever made tahini? Have you? Okay, I haven't tried that one. It's mostly just sesame seeds and oil?
Roast the sesame seeds, oil, and then grind them.
Yeah. And one thing I've noticed about the tahini that you buy in the store is sometimes it's thicker than others, but you do have to stir it up. I have definitely found that, so if you want to just put that in there. I'm glad that this is real thin because it makes it a lot easier to stir up. Doesn't get quite so thick. Susie is going to go on and do the mustard. We've got some country Dijon. She's going to get 1 teaspoon of that. There's a teaspoon. Chickpeas contain a moderate amount of calories for the amount of nutrients that they pack. They've got a lot of protein in them. They've got fiber. And of course, we all know that protein helps slow digestion so that the calories don't hit the bloodstream and spike our blood sugar. They have a fairly low calorie density, which means they provide few calories relative to the amount of nutrients that they contain, which helps control our blood sugar. And there is some evidence that they benefit digestion. They are high in fiber, which benefits digestion by increasing the number of healthy bacteria in your gut and helping waste flow efficiently through your digestive tract. They're inexpensive and easy to add to your diet. Now, a lot of people, okay, she's going to do the maple syrup now. A lot of you raised your hands that you eat or you use a lot of chickpeas. I would like you to share. How do you eat them? What do you do with them? What?
Hummus.
Oh, hummus, okay. Make your own hummus, great. Anybody else?
We like pasta salads at our house, and so we add chickpeas to our Mediterranean pasta salads a lot.
Okay.
I also like the pastas made with chickpea flour, and we've ground up our own chickpea flour before to add to like things like these brownies and stuff. Add a little extra protein in them.
Okay, someone was saying that you add them to pasta salad. I don't know if they can hear it on the virtual, but very good, yeah. So now so
Great
far.
falafels.
They
Deep fried.
Falafels,
I don't
okay.
like the fried food.
Yeah, yeah.
It tastes good.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay,
We have a taco recipe that we really like that roasts them with cauliflower. Edie was like, don't say the tacos.
Must say the tacos.
And then I just like it in salads, just in general, like, just as a protein there.
here, a class or so ago, we used the, I can't think of the word I want to use. What is in the garbanzos, the
Oh,
liquid in the garbanzos.
Aquafaba, there we go.
Aquafaba.
Yes.
And I had all those garbanzos after draining out all the aquafaba and making the recipe 3 times. It's like, what am I going to do with this?
Make tacos.
I do have a really good recipe for hummus, so I did that, but I've still got some I need to use up. So I'm going to start putting them in salads.
Make tacos. Ooh, yes.
Do what?
Curry.
Curry, okay, all right. There's a lot of Indian dishes, right? That have garbanzos in it. So I guess there's a lot of ways we can start putting those little garbanzos in our meals. Okay, she's going to put the red onion, which is already chopped, and I chopped it pretty fine. I like it to be distributed, so that I don't get big chunks of it. There's time that big chunks are good, but I chopped it up pretty fine. Then the celery, also chopped up. And pickle, and y'all can't buy the pickles I used, I'm really sorry. Because they're ones I make. Anyway, just use your favorite pickle.
Are they dill
They're
or sweet?
Yeah, dill pickle, yeah. And they don't have vinegar in them. They're made without vinegar. Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Okay, now we need the, how many of you use capers? Okay, all right. See, y'all are way ahead of me. I had to go find capers and figure out what in the world I was using. Okay, so it calls for just 1 teaspoon of capers, little guys.
Yeah.
Is that a good reason why you don't want more than a teaspoon?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's, well, maybe that's a little bit more. Anyway, I think my knife is on the, oh, yeah. I'm just going to chop them because it said chopped coarsely. All right, you want to put that in there? That'd be great. So it says a healthy pinch of sea salt. I've got some sea salt there that I'm putting in. Actually, that's Himalaya salt, sorry. And then we need a tablespoon. There's actually, I'll just sprinkle a little black pepper in because it calls for pepper. And then a tablespoon of vegetables. I think we got, sure. Now, y'all are probably people that buy seaweed.
Yeah.
I may have bought the wrong kind, I don't know. But there's sheets of it in there.
It's all good, you're gonna make it work.
Anyway, it said to crush it. I put it in a little mortar and pestle this afternoon. Forget crushing this stuff. Didn't work. So I'm going to do something different with it. In fact, Susie's going to do it. We're going to cut it up with my magic little 5. No, because we're going to do it this way. We're going to just chop it up in little strips, and then we're going to use the knife to chop it up.
Barbara, at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, they actually have kelp in like little sprinkled containers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can buy those.
Much more convenient. I don't have to go around chopping it.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, for anybody listening, Trader Joe's,
And Whole Foods.
Whole Foods and Trader Joe's have it already all chopped up.
Yep.
I'm kind of surprised, it seems like that stuff is so crumbly. I would think.
Yeah, you could just like,
Like this, it would probably do it, right? If you just-
Well, it's real crisp,
That it won't.
but this particular one has oil on it, and I think that's why it wouldn't break up. So, again, I just didn't know what I was doing. I was going out and looking for seaweed. And I went to a health food store, and that's what they said they had, so it's what I bought. Okay, so let's just put that on here.
So what does the seaweed do for the salad?
You know, that's a good question. I wondered, I thought, well, what does it do? Does it make it taste fishy?
That's what I was thinking between the capers and the kelp that you were making imitation tuna fish.
Oh, okay, all right.
Might want to repeat that.
That between the capers and the kelp, that it would make it taste like tuna fish? Okay. I think that's originally, I was surprised when I went and got the recipe because this is actually one that someone had done at our vegetarian taste fest. And that's where I got the recipe. And I think in that they had called it like fake tuna or something like that. Okay? All right. So now the sunflower seeds, that will be good. Stir this up. I actually have one that I made last night just to make sure, or this morning, to make sure that we have enough so everybody gets a good taste of this. I probably should have done like Yvonne and just put it in that little processor and let it stir it all up, right? But then it might chop up the, you know, you want some crunch, right?
Yeah.
So, since I don't have, there it is, a nice sandwich spread, you know? And y'all can, she says in the recipe that she uses a half cup. That's quite a bit for a sandwich, you know, but that's what we'll try to do tonight so you can see how much it does. Okay, let's clear this away and then we'll do the pasta sauce. Okay. You know, I keep demonstrating choosing recipes that have become family favorites, so I hope y'all like them as much as we do. This one is from a friend in Florida. Her mother was a really good cook, and not surprisingly, she and her sisters are all good cooks, and they find all these cool recipes. I mean, they found a recipe like at Christmas time that it was like almond joys, and they were so easy to make. So anyway, this is their recipe, hot pasta with cold tomato sauce. So how many people have gardens? Okay, all right, cool. These are tomatoes from my garden, so they're really, you know, typically we make it in the summertime because those tomatoes are so good, you know.
And the basil.
And basil.
Right, and then we have the basil. Does anybody raise basil in the wintertime and have a grow light? I've always said I was going to do that, but I haven't done it because I love fresh basil. It is so good. Anyway, this year I have 3 plants of basil, and they're all, when I came home from vacation a couple of weeks ago, the poor little things just looked like they were ready to die. And I thought, oh my. So anyway, I fertilized them and watered them.
You don't have to talk up to it, just stay closer to it than Susie.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
All right, anyway, so I fertilized them. I just thought that I'd gotten all the pesto I was going to get this summer. They are as pretty as they ever were. They are just gorgeous. Really dark green. They were kind of yellowish. But I'm going to have to make pesto tomorrow. I keep freezing it. Somebody told me that they freeze it. And so I freeze it, and then we can have our pesto pizza in wintertime like we love to do. Or on a sandwich or all kinds of things, right? We like that kind of stuff. So, all right. One of the first things we're going to do, ladies, I need my tomatoes out of the refrigerator. Thank you. Oh, bless you. Marcia's been back here chopping. It says on the recipe 5 large or 6 small ripe tomatoes. I do like 4 cups, 4.5 cups, whatever you want to do. We're doing 4 cups tonight. You need to go that way. Okay, there we go. All right. So we're doing 4 cups. If you want to just write that down, I like to know cup measurements because what's a large tomato? Who knows, you know? So if you want to measure a ½ cup of olive oil to put in there. And then we're going to demonstrate, I don't know how many people might have this little gadget. I hate peeling garlic, all right? And I was given at Christmas time a neat little gadget that peels garlic for me, and I love it. Took me a while to figure out how to use it, but that's what we're going to use tonight. Do you have those? How many people have them? No? Okay. You'll want to go down and buy one as soon as you see how it works, or maybe you don't have trouble getting your garlic peeled, I don't know. All right, it asks for 2 large cloves. Once again, everything is relative. You just put them in there and then roll it, and it just automatically peels them. I usually do one at a time.
I thought that was just one.
Oh, okay. If you roll them good enough, it takes it all off, and you just get a nice little peeled one out of there. But you have to put a little pressure on it. And when I first thought, I thought, oh, well, that's going to be horrible to clean. That'll be worse than peeling a garlic. But it really isn't. Though besides that, my husband cleans it, so, you know. He does the dishwashing. But really, if you just put it under the faucet, it just rinses it right out. Works really good. So I like it. Nope, I think that's it. So, those are pretty large. Would you call those large? Okay, good. All right, I've got this. We're going to put them in here and squeeze those little guys. You know what, I think I had, you know, and this recipe, in my opinion, the things that makes this recipe really good, garlic is one of them. If you don't like garlic, you're not going to like this. Garlic and the fresh basil, you know, that is the things that just make it really.
We're shooting garlic over here.
Okay, Tracy, Susie, would you go back and chop this? You can go right here and chop that up a little bit. We don't want to waste it. You're going to get all this in there.
Yes.
Just chop it one way and then the other, and it'll work real good. Okay, now, the fresh basil. We got to have our nifty little scissors back. Where's my scissors? I need my scissors for my basil. I meant to grab it off the end.
It's moving though. It's sticking to the knife and then moving with it.
I cut up the basil with this scissors, and then I just use that knife to chop across it because it cuts it in little strips, and then I just chop it a few times, and it does it really nicely. That looks good, Suze. I think we can put that in there. And then I'll need that to do the chopping of the basil. Look at all this that I picked, and you can't even tell I picked anything off my basil. Isn't that pretty? Nice and green. All right. It really doesn't take long to do. At home, I made up you need to let this sit for an hour to 3 hours. So I made some today that's going to have the flavors all really, all the way through. We're just making this, and we're not going to use this to serve because it's not going to be, it'll be just, won't have sat very long. I use scissors for so many things. I use scissors to cut pizza. Not this one. That'd be a little bit strange, wouldn't it? You know, I should ask some of you. I raised oregano one time, but I never had a recipe that called for it. So I finally decided, well, I won't raise that anymore. But basil, oh my goodness, I use basil, and I dry my own basil too. Do you do that? Mm-hmm. Dry your own? Yeah. Great stuff. And to dry it, when I cut it with this and then dry it, chop it up, it's just really nice, just like you would buy in the store. Only it's probably a lot fresher. I'm going to cut up one more. If everybody doesn't have access to fresh basil and they'd like to make the recipe once they taste it, I will be happy to give some of this basil away. Because there's plenty here. If not, I'll take it home and make some pesto.
Oh yeah.
All right. That's probably enough for a half cup. All right, so I'm just going to chop across it with this. Okay. Is there anything else? Okay, red pepper flakes, Suze. We need 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. This is another thing that gives it a little zing, of course, so it's nice. 1/2 teaspoon salt. That'll be this one in there. And then we need a can of olives. Now, these are Lindsay olives that we get at, I can't think. Costco. They're large. I don't know, do they have smaller ones at Costco? Okay, all you get is large. But they sure taste a lot better than other olives.
You already drained those, right?
What?
You already drained them, right?
Mhm. That's all there is to it. That's pretty easy, huh? But wait till you taste it. It's really good. But just make sure that you make it ahead. And you can, we've actually, I don't know if I've made it a whole day ahead of time. I usually make it about 3 hours before we're gonna eat it. But, oh, yes, the oil. I thought it was kind of not soupy. You wanna, it's always good to check your recipe over when you get done to make sure you put everything in. Tomatoes, oil, garlic, basil, pepper flakes, salt, and olives. Very good. All right. So any questions at this point? Maybe when you sample the stuff, you might have some more questions. But that's it. And the ladies back there have been working. They've got just about everything ready. All right. This is what it looks like after I've been had it sitting this afternoon and all the flavors together. One thing, she just asked for, I think, just regular tomatoes. One of the recipes that I made with tomatoes and basil, I have a green bean and tomato recipe with basil, and I discovered that it calls for Roma tomatoes. And of course, I have a lot of tomatoes in the garden, so I just use whatever. They were a lot juicier, and it really thinned out the sauce so that you didn't taste the flavor so much. So if you're getting a Roma or something, not really as juicy, go back to your rice.
Now you gotta repeat all that for everybody online.
Now y'all have to tell me what I said. Oh, okay, I was telling them that I have a recipe that calls for green beans and fresh tomatoes and basil and lemon juice and so forth, and I used regular tomatoes out of my garden instead of just Roma. Roma are a lot meatier, and so it thinned down the sauce that was on them, and they weren't nearly as tasty. So the last time I made them, I just drained all the juice off the tomatoes when I got done, and it worked pretty good. So, anyway, that's one of the things that.
But for this recipe, you just use regular tomatoes.
You can use either kind, yeah, regular. This one just calls for tomatoes. It doesn't say Roma, it doesn't specify Roma. So. I'm always happy when it's summertime and we have fresh basil. That's just the best stuff. All right, I'll go back here, and as soon as they have the pasta ready, I'll build the thing. Actually, I'll bring it out here so you can see. I actually layer it so that you have sauce all the way down through, and just makes it easier to serve, and everybody gets some of the sauce. Okay, good. 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 It's the same size, I'm pretty sure. All right. I'm going to need a spoon. I'm going to use the 2 dishes here to Now, Marcia suggested that we break up the pasta, which is going to make it a lot easier to serve. So,
A lot easier.
yeah, from what we usually do. It calls, for this amount of sauce, it calls for 16 ounces, as you can see, of the pasta. I have used thin spaghetti, but it's whole wheat. Oh, use this spoon, maybe. Let me
Yeah,
have that
get
one,
the-
because
some
you've
of the
got the
sauces.
juice. Yeah.
Yeah.
We usually serve dipping bread with this, which is really good. It's the best.
Stuff, because it's watery.
The
so,
juice.
You know, it'll drain through your pasta some, and you end up with this, like, watery, oily, garlicky, like, stuff.
It's so good.
So we put it, yeah, it's so good. Yeah,
So good.
Yeah, that's so dipping bread, yeah.
Okay, finish it up. I have, when I let this set, you know, when I make it 1 to 3 hours ahead of time, I always refrigerate it. I don't know if that's good or bad, but she doesn't say to, so.
That's some cold tomato sauce, right? So,
How else would it be cold?
yeah,
Doesn't say room temperature tomato sauce.
that's right.
Just dump it on. All right, we're good to go. Let's go. All right, let's just put that in here. Okay, and we'll. Okay, are we going to put them on there? Here's. Fancy little, all right, I'll start. So it's on school.
23?
Okay, we've kind of shown you what the brownies look like, but here's our sandwich and our pasta in a bowl, if you want to zoom in on that. We served it in a bowl tonight. We were going to put it on plates, but we didn't think you'd probably want the pasta sauce on your brownie so much.
Thank you for thinking it.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, you can email us. We'd be happy to answer, or if we don't know, we'll find out. We won't make up an answer, although it's tempting sometimes. So let's bow our heads and close the whole thing, and also bless our food, and we can come over here and you can get your samples. Loving Father, thank you again, Lord, for such a variety of foods that you've given us. And you've also blessed people with ideas of how to put all these things together and make different dishes. Pray that you will be with each person and bless this food now as we sample. And we just thank you for your blessings in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Come. Bye.
Not to the bite.